Um, okay. So here's the thing. Um, I just I just had a friend of mine tell me, "Hey, Rob, you really need to make a video about something." And because he said, "Hey, you know, a lot of people don't know that in small towns in China, it's not really good for dating." Um, and so I think it's worthwhile for you guys to know that, to have a sense of that, before you go to a really small town. Now, so he's he's teaching at a school and he's got a great salary. He was a teacher in the United States. I mean, when he applied, he showed them videos of him teaching, pictures of him teaching at an American high school. Um, and you know, so they love that. They love that fact, right? And so he is hired as a math teacher, and he's just like, fuck, man, it just sucks here for dating chicks. Now I'm gonna talk about why that I think that is. And one caveat, one disclaimer: I have been to many small towns in China, and you can see some of them, videos of them on my YouTube channel. But I have not lived long term in small towns. I have lived long term in big cities in China. Um, Many big cities, and only big cities. Okay. Now, this guy went there in part because he is going to be saving money. And you can save a lot of money in a small town, especially when your salary. I think his salary is 22 or 23,000 renminbi, plus they give him an apartment. That's, you know, almost 4,000. That's going on 4,000 US dollars. It's 3,500. You'll do the exchange rate. There's some depreciation, plus an apartment. I mean, that's really good. But he's saying, wow, I have to go to Beijing to meet chicks, and that's where he's gone. He's been going there on the weekends because he's about 3 hours outside of Beijing, something like that. But at any rate, I'm going to talk briefly about why I think that is. Um, it's hard for him to get girls to go on real dates with him. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with this guy. Okay, there's no reason why. I mean, in the dating market, he should be getting girls. Okay, and I've talked with him about this at length, and he's like, man. But at any rate, I'm going to quickly. The reasons are: one, bad reputation; two, many of the girls in those small towns are already married; three, there are no girls left in those small towns because many of them have migrated and left. And that there's a okay. So now one, two, three. I'm going to go through those one by one. And I think, why don't I? Well, I'll go through the number one, the bad rep one, because I do have experience of that. I have experience of dating a girl who lived in a small town here in Guangdong, and I would go there. Now, it's not Meizhou, the one I did some videos of. It's actually a different small town, actually Danshui. And it is Danshui is kind of on an outskirt of Huizhou, but it is a small town. It is not Huizhou. It is a small town. And I remember when I would go and meet her there, she would go have me stay at a hotel kind of on the outskirts a little bit. She didn't want to be seen with a foreigner walking together in the small town. So the thing is, Chinese girls can get a bad reputation in those small towns really quickly. And hanging out with a foreigner, there are a lot of people who will pester her and give her a bad time about that. Um, and so that's part of the reason why my buddy in this small town, and he was telling me, make a video on it. He's told me 3 times on 3 separate occasions, you got to make a video about this. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So, um, they don't want to get a reputation as being with a foreigner. That's it, right? Because they're xenophobic. The people here are extremely xenophobic, all right? And ethnocentric. There's ethnocentrism, which is a lot like racism. It's not too different, okay? Ethnocentrism with xenophobia mixed in together. You're a baddie. You're a bad guy. On some level, they view you that way. It's kind of a, this riot police culture. Oh, it's a foreigner. There's kind of alarm. Bam, 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 the alarm bell. And immediately there's foreigner, you versus me, Chinese. And it's, so there you go. Now, the other reason is all the chicks have moved, all the young people have moved to the cities. Do a quick Google search. You need to know about this. It's why China is unique and kind of different in a way. Over the last 25, 30 years, there has been the largest migration of humans in the entire history of the world. I'm not overstating that at all. It's about 300 million. I'll state it again. 300 million people have moved from small towns in the countryside into cities. Okay? It's a major phenomenon. Google it. Google migration in China to the cities, biggest migration, or massive population shift from countryside to city in China, and you'll quickly discover exactly what I'm talking about. And so the result is the only people who are left back in those towns are women who are either married or for whatever reason, they're not willing to venture out. Almost all of the single women have moved away from the small towns. So there is a demographic, a geographic problem. The geography of China and the demographics create a small problem. Again, small towns, not always great for dating. Although as I said, I have dated a girl in a small town. And she was a good girl, she was attractive, and she just happened to still live there. But whatever. So a lot of the chicks who are still remaining in those small towns, a lot of them are already married. Let's see here. Now, so I'm talking about like the tier 4 cities. In China, they have this system of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. I'm definitely not talking about tier 1 or tier 2. And I'm not really talking even about tier 3. I'm talking about tier 4, the small cities. Okay? And not quite a village either. All right, there's these places that are villages, and those no one on this YouTube channel will be going there to teach English. All right, so this guy at this particular school, the reason they put the school there is because it's out of the way, it's more peaceful, a good place to study. Expenses are low, so wealthy parents are sending their kids to this particular private school that's located in a very small town. Okay, that's why a foreigner ends up in that small town. And there are a lot of good reasons why planners would choose to do that. Again, if you are really interested in dating, the small towns probably are not best for you. Okay, there's a warning, I guess. All right.